Lovely to see you. Lovely to meet you. So we're
No.
here to talk about Whitstable Pearl, which is now in its third series. Now, you trained as an actress, but it's kind of as stand-up that we kind of really got to know you first. So, and I'm aware that you're quite a bit of a lists person. So I'm wondering, was returning to acting top of the list?
I never left acting. I've always acted. I never stopped. But it's interesting, the nature of this industry, um, the narrative that is a projected or a kind of, profile related narrative isn't necessarily your genuine biography. I just never stopped acting. It's just that stand up was the thing that went in tandem with it. And that ended up giving me a bit of profile that got me better acting work.
So, the character you play, Pearl, former police officer, now she's a chef. Now, with the complexity of filming and cramped conditions and a working kitchen especially, how are you getting along with kind of the business of doing cooking in the kitchen when you're doing your lines and it's all being blocked out?
I quite like that. I quite like focusing on those sort of things because it gets you out of your head and makes it's a more sort of I enjoy that kind of that's the kind of acting that I'm interested in is that physicality or kinetic, you know, I connect with that. I think when things are high emotion or cerebral, that's when I get a bit in knots. I quite like it when it's physical, and that's one of the things I like about Whitstable Pearl is she's quite a robust physical person. I like the running and the snooping and the peeping and the do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the marching along beaches and cooking, and she's a very like me, I guess. She's quite a physical, boshy person.
If you were to change career and you were either to be either a copper or a chef, which one would you feel more
Probably a
aligned with?
copper. Probably a copper. I mean, I've got mixed feelings about the police,
Okay.
but in essence, it's probably more in keeping with my. I think chefing with the repetition of it would drive me nuts. I think the variability of being a police, working in the police would be more interesting and be more stimulating because you're working with people, aren't you?
Yeah.
There's a
Yeah.
social element to it, a socially kind. You're dealing with humans. I think the constant repetition of having to chop bunions would drive me bananas.
So you've worked with Ricky Gervais and the terrific David Earl, and both have a bit of a reputation for making everyone laugh on set, sort of middle of a take. Did you have that kind of problem or issue with anyone or with yourself doing that with Whitstable Pearl?
No, Whitstable Pearl's a very different kind of set to a Gervais set. And nothing's like a Ricky Gervais set.
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard other actors, and I would agree that they kind of spoil you for future projects because it's not a traditionally long day, which we all know in filming is normal, and it's playful and it's loose, and that's how he gets what he gets. And I'm always slightly amazed that other sets don't operate like that, if I'm honest, but they don't.
But I get the impression this is quite a tight schedule in
Yeah,
turnaround
like
times.
most things are. Most things
Yeah.
are like tight schedule. No one's got any money. You hear the usual tropes of frustration. Whereas a Ricky set is a playful. You don't. It's just a different and very unique environment. A Ricky Gervais set. So there's space for a lot of fun, and then the fun is the thing that acts. The playfulness is what means that he gets what he gets.
So, I feel Whitstable, where you film predominantly, is a beautiful town, really beautiful part of the country.
Yeah, it really is.
But a film crew descending on any kind of town, there's always like this kind of frisson of excitement. But with roads being, closed off and locations being temporarily closed for filming, is the novelty starting to wear off, do you think, for the
Well,
residents?
yes and no. We shot season one in lockdown, so we had the town to ourselves.
Oh,
So,
right.
and if you know Whitstable, it's pokey. It's got a single
Mm.
file pavement width. So that you have to see these standoff with buggies, but so it's not like naturally a place that can accommodate a film crew. So for seasons 2 and 3, we do a lot elsewhere. We don't film much. We certainly don't use the high street because it's just not realistic. So we only really film in Whitstable when we've got places that can't be anywhere else, like the beach or the Neptune or the shots that really are very distinctly Whitstable. Everywhere else, it's a cheat. We're in different places.
Can you sort of reveal? I mean,
Well,
is it,
interiors could literally be anywhere, couldn't
oh,
they? You're building a set. So we've been in London for a lot of the interiors. We're often in London. And we used, for season 2, I think we used a lot of other Kent towns. Seem to remember we were in Rochester quite a lot. And Walthamstow's used quite a lot because it's got a kind of villagey vibe, and some of the shops are a bit similar to Whitstable.
So when you're getting the scripts for this, each new series, and as you're working through each episode, how often do you guess the killer and the motive before the final reveal?
I don't really do that. I don't watch loads of whodunits. I'm not a whodunit maniac. So I don't get into that kind of, I know people that they do that, don't they? They kind of work it out, like people that do crosswords or quizzes or I'm not like that as much. So yeah, I don't really I always think that they're human stories, and that that side of it I don't get as immersed in. I'm sort of like mapping the emotional journeys of the characters. What I do love about the show is that usually there's a real empathy in it. So when there's a baddie, I don't really feel like there are baddies in the show. Do you know what I mean? Like people that are just like wired up to be malevolent and mean. There's always an element of sort of social commentary, and that people end up making bad choices for reasons that are unfortunate. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I really like that tone of the show, that there isn't this kind of despairing, some people are just evil.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I kind of think that there's always a kind of strand of like, oh, it's a shame that these people ended up in these places.
So this is the 3rd series now of Whitstable Pearl, and it's hugely entertaining. But I'm just wondering, is it going to start getting a bit like Midsummer Murders in terms of there's not going to be many residents left to be bumped off as it goes
but
on?
But as you say, I mean, I grew up watching Morse. That was my favorite, and it was always like, Christ, it's a miracle anyone's alive in Oxford. So that's a tradition, isn't it, of those kind of shows. There is always that, if you've got a small town and a population cut-off point, we can't kill everyone off.
Give it will, though.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it would be a problem I'm happy to sort of leave them to sort out if we ended up rolling for as long as Midsummer Murders.
40 odd series or whatever it is.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, we did go Kent wide in season 2, and it was like, wow, there's a lot of people. We could go as far as Sevenoaks. That's all right. The only other thing to reference is that in Whitstable Pearl, that they have these cinematic, they sometimes do an episode that is based on a film. So in season 2, we did Rear Window, and in season 3, I can't remember what film it was. There's one episode that is a film. It's based on a film.
Yeah, the one with Rear Window, I kind of picked up on that, and I just kind of thought
they try and do one every season.
Yeah, no, that's an absolutely brilliant idea.
Yeah, it's really nice, because there are no new ideas, really, are there? So just to sort of like slightly put in a homage to great films, especially in that detective canon, do you know what I mean? In that whodunit canon, I just think it's a really sweet little extra thing that Whitstable Pearl does, and visually, I think it's a very beautiful show, and you can see that there's a cinematic influence.
Well, if you're going to sort of pay homage to great films, then Hitchcock is a good place to start.
Exactly. Especially when you're kind of trying to reinvent the wheel, which is what all whodunits are.
Yeah. I look forward to Whitstable Pearl's version of Psycho.
Yeah, exactly. They'll probably have a crack at things like that. That's what I love about that show.
Yeah. Okay, great.
Thank
you very much, Kerry. Much appreciate your time.
No worries. Take care. Bye-bye.